What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. Now you guys could probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, guys, you're definitely going to want to see this one as we're finally seeing more information developing on those bad actors that played major roles in, the continuation of the California wildfires, guys. I'm excited to get into it, see exactly what's going on, if those bad actors' feet are finally going to be held to the fire. So we're going to hop straight into it, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even get into it, you guys, hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button for your boy. And without further ado, let's get straight into it, you guys. Check this one out.
According to internal records, the Los Angeles Fire Department, the LAFD, had over 1,000 firefighters and 4 water-carrying engines at their disposal during the critical early hours of the Palisades fire. But, according to the report, apparently during the critical hours of this wildfire as it was spreading, the department only deployed a grand total of, wait for it, 5 engines. 5. Los Angeles fire bosses deployed just a fraction of its firefighters and trucks to the deadly Palisades fire until it was already out of control, sending just 5 of 40 available fire engines and holding back 1,000 firefighters, according to a damning new report. The critical decisions blasted by experts and ex-fire chiefs as a spate of missteps were made even as extreme warnings were coming in about life-threatening winds that turned the blaze into the most destructive in Los Angeles history. You would have had a better chance to get a better result if you deployed those engines, former LAFD Battalion Chief Rick Crawford told the Los Angeles Times. You give yourself the best chance to minimize how big the fire could get, and if you do that, you have the ability to say, I threw everything at it at the outset. But that didn't happen here, he continued, adding the choices were part of a domino effect of missteps. Officials held off on ordering hundreds of available fire crews to remain on duty for a second shift last Tuesday, which would have doubled the manpower on hand to help battle flames taking hold in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood. Honestly, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. I mean, the level of incompetence here is almost baffling. They had all this personnel and all this equipment, and they just chose not to deploy it. They just sat.
I'm not sure now. I'm not sold on the whole incompetence thing. I mean, was this incompetence, a bunch of it, or was this intentional? I don't know if I'm sold on the whole incompetence line of story. I'm not buying that, guys. I'm just not.
They had all this personnel and all this equipment, and they just chose not to deploy it. They just sat back and apparently let the fire rage. I mean, that is completely insane. And at this point, I'm going on the record saying that I believe everybody in charge at the LAFD at this point should step down from their post. You had a wildfire raging, and again during the dry season, then the winds started to pick up, and what did they do? They deployed 5 engines and sent the rest of the firefighters home. I mean, you would think all the leaders, all the scientists, meteorologists who have lived and worked in California their entire lives, I mean, you would expect that they would understand this combination, right? That if you have a fire raging during a dry season, and then big winds starting to pick up, well, it's going to spread the fire. The proper thing to do would be to jump into action and play the best role of deterrent that you can, but they didn't do that. Not at all. And instead, we have the most deadly and disastrous wildfire event in American history. And it's insane, and it gets even potentially worse as we delve down the rabbit hole. Now, before I show you guys this next story, I want to preface by saying we haven't had an official response by the city just yet. We don't know if the vehicles captured in this video are in disrepair or if they're just storing them here, but look at this. Wall Street Apes on Twitter writes, there are no words to describe this. Journalist goes to Los Angeles Fire Department repair yard and was able to record just how many vehicles are waiting to be repaired. Endless amounts of vehicles that could have been used to fight the Palisades fires. Gavin Newsom must resign. This is apparently the LAFD Bureau of Supply and Maintenance, and this was filmed by Film the Police LA. Take a look.
Oh my goodness. Yep, and this is stuff that, the legacy media won't show you this kind of information. They got this, and they're putting this kind of stuff away, tucking it, hiding it away, so that you don't get the real of, this is not incompetence. This can't be. I just refuse to believe that they're actually, and we need to hold these folks accountable, that they're so-called that incompetent, but somehow they made it all the way up into leadership. That does not make sense. So again,
we're not going to jump to conclusions here. I'm not going to say that all those vehicles need to be repaired and Los Angeles doesn't have a working fleet, but at the end of the day, what does that even matter? The point is, working, not working, you have all these fire engines just sitting there doing nothing during the most deadly, dangerous, and destructive wildfire in America. American history.
And this is because Gavin Newsom then cut the budget for some woke narrative or woke agenda, woke mission, you know what I mean? And terminate all the workers, and now you've got, no laborers. You got no one to actually do the work.
That's insane. It's a complete freaking disaster. No water, no trucks, no personnel, no foresight, no planning. Yet Newsom keeps telling us how California leads the world, is leading the way in fire prevention. Completely insane. And of course, the rabbit hole keeps getting dug deeper and deeper and deeper. Yep. We also have a transcript from an interview done by Avery Warwick on X, where she interviews an anonymous Los Angeles firefighter who's been at the department for 20 plus years. Let me show you this conversation. I'll read it out loud for you. Transcript with myself, Avery Warwick, and a Los Angeles firefighter of 20 plus years who was asked to remain anonymous. Elon brought us 17 Cybertrucks filled with Starlinks, food, and water. He was trying to help us, and he was treated like crap. I don't want to get in trouble, but what I can tell you for certain was that Elon Musk was informed by firefighters on the ground that they ran out of water, which is the truth. Then Elon was thrown under the bus on a live stream by that fire chief. The individual's calculations were off as it relates to the fire flow and hydrants, and he, the fire chief, did not tell the whole truth for political reasons, and that's all I'll say here. Avery then responds, I can read between the lines and understand what you're saying. What was your experience fighting the fires? And then he responds, yeah, I mean, specifically on a street in the Palisades, not only did we run out of water, but in addition to that, the standard distance between residential homes is usually less than 1,000 feet, and in this case, these homes were very large. We're talking 1,500 square foot mansions, and the hydrants were over 1,000 feet apart with only a 2.5-inch wharf hydrant instead of 4 inches, meaning they did not have sufficient water flow to extinguish these fires. These homes were commercial-sized buildings, but regardless, we were making a good effort and could have saved more of them by putting up a water curtain, which would have allowed us to save the exposure from the houses that were on fire, but we couldn't do that because we ran out of water. And this is where things get really interesting and possibly extremely damning. Avery asks for more explanation on the hydrants, and he says this: every stick of hose that you have to add reduces the capacity of the pump to pump, and you have to pump more gallons per minute, slowing the flow. It's crucial to remain dynamic in a situation like this, and adding sticks would have limited our ability to fight the fire. Also, the fact that this was only 2.5 diameter instead of 4-inch, you really needed a 4-inch hydrant. And again, this was like a commercial street with commercial-sized buildings. These homes were so large. Then Avery
there you go, guys. Just terrible, terrible leadership. You're seeing that all their efforts, Gavin Newsom, his efforts are going towards DEI, woke initiatives instead of places that are not so pretty, not so glitz and glamour. He's not going to get a big pat on the back or a tummy rub afterwards. It's going to be, oh, he got some real work done and no one's going to know. Sometimes that's what it takes to be a true leader. You have to do the work that is not so pretty. You're not going to get, acknowledgement or accolades for you just getting it done because you know how it could potentially affect your people. This is negligence by leadership. They should not be able to, resign their way out of this. We need to see prosecution come forth, invest a thorough investigation into all of these rogue agents, bad actors that, matter of fact, just follow the money. You'll figure out exactly what's happening here. Follow the money.
Avery responds, this is a really big deal. Why weren't the correct hydrants in place? How does that happen? That particular area, I have no idea because they're all new. Then Avery asks, was somebody paid off? And he responds, I don't want to delve into conspiracy theories, but this would have been signed off by a Los Angeles inspector against protocol. Who knows why they weren't of sufficient diameter against what the law requires? And then he responds, yes. When you say sufficient, or more accurately, insufficient diameter, is this approved by the city? The Los Angeles city inspector would have approved these plans and it would have been sent to the city for approval, and obviously this was approved. Holy crap. So I guess what we're really seeing here is a pattern of cutting corners. They don't have the water, they don't have the staff, they don't have the fleet. Then the hydrants that were installed too far away from each other, more than 1,000 feet apart, and in an area where the houses are huge and you need big diameter hydrants for the proper flow to deal with these kind of massive fires.
Yo, there we have it, guys. That one coming from our friend Liberal Hive Mind. Definitely be sure to leave that original video link down in the description box below. For those you want to go over there, check that full thing out. Also, you guys to go over there, show our friend Liberal Hive Mind tons of love and support. He's a great guy. Oh my goodness, guys. Talk about corners being cut. And I said this in the beginning of the video already. This is a direct result of terminated workers because of a cut budget. They're trying to focus more on DEI initiative, DEI hires. those woke initiatives and more of like the glitz and the glamour, the things that are going to sparkle in folks' eye when you get things done. They think you're actually, spending $1 billion on the homeless, spending $1 billion on illegal immigrants, those type of points where it's making headlines, making news, not putting it elsewhere where it really matters, where you see your citizens are really going to be affected. He could have protected everyone. More and more information that we see develop, the more we realize that these fires were 100% preventable. They didn't have to at least get to or spread to this magnitude, this severity. The amount of folks that have been affected, my heart still goes out as with everyone who has been affected. Their lives have been touched. Loved ones have been, affected by these fires. The blatant negligence of leadership. They're focusing all their attention in all the wrong spots. This could have been avoided, but again, those corners cut. We're seeing DEI hires, woke initiatives. I'm not sure when these folks on the left are going to learn, but then again, those folks who are voting these people into power, they're starting to realize, they're waking up like, okay, these folks that were voting in, they're saying they're going to do this, they're saying they're going to do that, but then they're leaving us, hanging. They're leaving us wide open and exposed, showing that they cannot keep voting these types of folks into power. Guys, definitely hop in the comments section to let me know your thoughts. I also want to give a huge shout out and thanks to all the folks who have made it this far. Definitely appreciate you guys for showing up day in and day out, supporting your boy Retro. And before we go, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one.